Hey everyone, it's Lincoln here with another episode of Tokens and Heft. Today we are taking a look at BattleCon, or Battle Connection, as its full name is. The War of Indines. This is... It says a dueling card game, but really this is a card formatted like street fighting game. It's great. Alright, let's see. Let's take a look at these little guys. There we are. BattleCon, the Battle Connection fighting system. Because there is a second set either out or coming out soon for this. And in theory, you could... It does come with blank cards, and you could make up, transfer your own characters in, make up your own. Being a fighting game, you get a huge cast of characters. That is one side. Here are the portraits on the other side. Every single one of these is a character that comes inside of this delightful little box. This is done by Level 99 Games, who I think are awesome because, well, this was fantastic, and I picked up the minigame library, which I might go over the individual pieces of at some point. Now, let us take a look at this game. To adjust the camera a little bit, get this box open. This is not what the box normally looks like inside. I have done some customizing. There's a bunch of people have put up little free resources online to make it a little more easy to store, to add little bits and bobs there. This is your big, kind of thick manual. But the thing about the thickness of the manual, let's see. This whole chunk of the manual is just showing you the fighters, giving you their EX and Almighty powers, which I might get into later. And it gives you, a nice character portrait. You get their name and a quote, who illustrated them, a little backstory. So the back of the book is all of that. We've got a FAQ in the back. FAQ in the back. There's a couple of pages of these that are all variants, and really only about half of the book is talking about the rules and such. And the first half of the book, and you can find this first half, I'm pretty sure it's online. It's a free comic featuring two of the characters, teaching you the basics of how to play the game. And that's the first several pages, is just that comic. Then we get into the actual meat of the game. Good rulebook, does everything well, teaches you everything you need to know. An index. I hate it when a rulebook does not have an index or a glossary or anything like that. Fantasy flight games are so hard to deal with. If you want to look up one tiny little minuscule specific rule mid-game, it takes you like 10-15 minutes to find where it was listed. That can all be solved with an index, guys. Really helps. And I like the wheel on the outside. What else do we get? We get the board. This is it. Not much. This is for 2-on-2 and things of that nature. Chunk on that. Yeah. Some stuff on my board. It's nice. It's a good solid construction. I like the art a lot. The texture is even nice. And then you get a bunch of cards and tokens. As I've said, this is not what the box actually looks like when you get it. I have done some rejiggering things. Hold on a sec, we're going to have to do this kind of stuff. Because someone was cool enough to design envelopes for the characters. So they have... This is not part of the game, but I just love that they did that. I'm doing this real quick. I'll do them this way. I'm missing a basic, or they're put in the wrong spot. There we go. See, because all the fighters come in 3 different classes. There are basic, there are moderate, and there are advanced. The only difference for these is how tricky the individual characters' mechanics are. They are all evenly matched. There is advanced characters are not overpowered or anything. They're just trickier to play. But I should have done this beforehand. But I love that I can do this before a game starts. And you're like, alright, who would you like to play? We have... It's like an actual character select screen, which is great. I love that. But yeah, you can see, you get 18 different characters in this game. We've got these guys who are all advanced, we've got these guys who are all moderate, and then these guys are all the easiest ones to deal with. The simplest mechanics. And I really like having these because every character is going to have their own special set of cards. They have a token that will stick on a stand in a moment, so you know where they are on their board, or rather a stand-up. And then, not every, but many characters come with little tokens that all have their own specific rules in these. These are his... This is Cadenza. He is a Clockwork Knight. And, wow. He is... I forgot how great these Iron Body tokens are. But I love having these little envelopes that someone made up so that I could store everything. And instead of having to sort out individual characters and such, I can just lay these out and have someone grab them, and there they go. They know who they want to be, they know who they want to play as, everything works out nice and easy. But you're not here to see stuff that doesn't come in the game. You want to know how this game works, and I am glad to tell you, because it is really fun. I just introduced a friend of mine to this the other day, and that's part of the reason I'm doing the reviews, because I forgot how much fun this game was. Let's see. Got your board. Get a handful of tokens and a couple little counters for various things. There are a couple scenarios that they have. Most of these are just like tiny little things. You got your life tokens. You can do them however you want. When I started doing this, I was using them like that as I went along, but that kind of didn't work out for me, and they kept falling off, or getting nudged, and I wouldn't know where they are. So now I keep them like this, between the triangles. So then I'm at 20 life, here I'm at 16, here I would be at 9, you know, whatever the number to the right of it is. That's what I personally have been doing, but you can do whatever you'd like. Oh god, I forgot. And there's a bunch of... Someone also... These are the characters that are used in Pixel Tactics, and someone took those sprites and actually made stand-ups, and I printed them out on cardstock, folded them up. Just for a little extra added variety, because this is a really great game. Now, let's see. What am I looking for? That's what I'm looking for. Each character... let's see. I will go with Rukyuk for fun. I like Rukyuk. Each character, aside from their tokens and their little stand-up showing where they are. Wow, this is a rough one. Some of the little stand-up bits have never been used and are... Oh, see, I'm tearing these things up now, trying to put them inside their stupid things. That's unfortunate, but I could loosen them up if I really cared. So you got your character is tokens, well, sometimes they're tokens, and they are a figure, or a stand-up, what have you. And those will be placed on your right, one space away from the end. Every character is made up of this card, their character card, which gives their name and what kind of guy they are. He is a wandering... Rukyuk Emberdeen is a wandering sharpshooter. He's an elven sharpshooter. This up here is his like special move, and I'll get into that in a minute. And then there's the specific rules for him. The way Rukyuk works is every time he attacks, so every round pretty much, he has to ante one of his tokens. They're like the ammo for his gun. And then one of his special moves is to reload. It's actually his special base. Because everyone gets the same set of... almost the same set of bases. Because every character has a unique base, but aside from that unique base, All characters use these bases. Shot, grasp, dash, burst, drive, and strike. Now, before you start a game, you should have 2 discard piles with attack pairs. But that's jumping way ahead of myself. What the heck's an attack pair? What you're basically going to do on a turn is, you got your little card in front of you. You're going to look through your hand of cards, all of the cards, and pick an attack and base to put together, or a style and a base. Styles are the character-specific cards. They all have, there's 5 of them for each character, and they all have those 5 colors. And they basically are your left hand, and bases go on the right. So, hold on a sec. I'm going to just put together one of the 8-bit versions of someone real quick, just so you have an idea of how attacking and everything works. So, you will come up with a thing. See, now I'm actually looking at these too much. Let's do that. That's easy. That'll work. So everyone involved, usually just 2 players. You will choose an attack pair. This is what I have chosen. You see how the stats in the center all flow together? You take that, and you will play it face down in front of you. And your opponent will play their attack pair face down in front of them. Then, you can anti-tokens if you want to, or in Rukyuk's case, if you have to, because he really has to. These are all great. Because they're all, his are all different ones. You know, there's an AP shell, there's an explosive shell, flash shell, a swift shell, which I think I'm actually going to use. So I'm going to anti that token. Regardless of how the battle comes out, that token is lost to me until I reload. And that is his specific action. He has his unique base. Allows him to reload. Like any fighting game, like a street fighting game, learning how each individual character works is really important to how you play. Like, I like Rukyuk. I didn't play with him last time. I probably should have. Though, when I play with a friend of mine who's kind of good at this, I'm not always good with Rukyuk because almost all of his shots need to be at greater than 1 range, and I just get annihilated. My buddy he knows that, and he'll get in close, and then I'm kind of out of luck. Anyway, back to the game. Then you do your anteing. Then, both people reveal their cards. Now, there's a nice list in the book of priority, because on each turn, a lot of things have to happen in a very specific order for everything to work out. I believe we ante stuff, then you flip cards, then you do reveal. Once you've done reveal effects, take a look at the priority of the 2 attacks. Now, this is going to be a weird one. Down here is priority. My priority is a -3 and a 2. So, my priority is a -1, which is awful. But, because he's Rukyuk and he has to ante a token, I had him use the Swift Shell. Yes, there is an H in there, it's just really tiny. Which gives him +2 priority. So his priority is actually at 1. Which is terrible, I gotta say. I'm not playing a dummy opponent, but you would then compare priorities. Whoever has the higher priority attacks first. Then, if the attack gets through, if the attack hits and deals damage, the opponent is stunned and does not get to attack back, in most cases. Unless you have things like this, Stun Guard. All the text down here is considered applicable for this attack. This is an attack pair, a style and a base, and this is what it is. It's a trick shot. So, I didn't think about this when I was putting them together too much, because I'm just demoing. This gives him Stun Guard 2 and Stun Immunity. What Stun Guard 2 means is, he can take 2 points of damage and it will not stun him. If he takes 3 points, he will be stunned and won't be able to attack. I wasn't thinking, because he has Stun Immunity. Just means, you can't stun him this turn. It's not going to happen. So even though I have a low priority on this, if the other opponent attacked first, they cannot stun me, and I would get to attack back. Now, that part's really actually quite simple. See, here's my range. You add these all together. So my range is 2 to 6 spaces. You have to add these basics together. And this goes back to what I was saying a little bit ago. Rukyuk can't attack, really, unless something's 2 or more spaces away from him. But he's got some of his styles help him move and get around the battlefield to position himself for that. So, my opponent is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away. No big deal, totally within range. And then I would just do 3 damage to them. That part's pretty simple. Oh, I forgot. I always forget this. There's also keeping track of time. Each match lasts 15 minutes. Each round is called 1 beat, because there will be a lot of cards that reference beats in one way or another. There's stun immunity. There's before activating. There's a whole heck of a lot to this game, but more or less, that's it. The basics of it are quite simple. The individual characters make all the difference. You know, my buddy actually played as Vanna here, the striker. Just a big old scythe. And she's all about high priority and just destroying things. She's one of the basic characters because she doesn't have a lot of goofy little rules or this or that. She just has this token. Divine Wrath. Gives her +2 priority and +2 power. So she's going to hit harder, and there's a good she's going to be faster than usual, probably going first. But that token doesn't get discarded like normal. That goes with your discarded attack pair and flows back into your powers, or into your hand, which that's a very important thing I got to show off. Once you're done with the whole attack, regardless of if you actually got to attack, regardless of if you did damage, regardless of anything, this was the attack you tried. You now take these 2 and put them off to your right in one of your 2 discard piles. Before the game starts, you should already have 2 attack pairs in the discard pile. All of the cards, both the bases and the styles, have suggested cards. The one closest to you that's going to come into your hand next is 1. The next one over is 2. So if you've never played before, you really don't care or don't know, you can always go with the suggested pairs to be in your discard at the start of the game. But back to regular play. You do all the attack, work that out. This moves over, the discards move down, and then whatever was in pile 1 comes back into your hand. So this way, every attack pair has like a 2-turn cooldown, which is kind of nice. It keeps you from spamming attacks, which is great. But it also is like, you might need a style or base that works really well with something in your hand, but it's sitting here waiting to come through. The character I just mentioned, Vanna, her special token, when she uses that, it stays with that attack pair, so she can't get it back for another 2 rounds. This guy, Demitras, he's another one of the guys I like playing. He's the Fencer. He starts with 2 crescendo tokens. Each crescendo token, when it's sitting in his pool, gives him +1 priority. So he's attacking faster and faster. But he can ante as many as he likes before attacking for +2 power for each token. That seems pretty impressive. But here's the thing. Every time he gets hit with an attack, he'll lose a token. But every time he hits with an attack, he gains a token. When I showed my friend this the other day, we had the fun of I hit him and got a token and was happy, but I didn't stun him and he got to attack back and I immediately lost that token. And not keeping a pool of those tokens around ultimately was my downfall because I just could not attack fast enough. He kept getting me much, much faster. And I'd get stunned or just wouldn't be able to do much. Plus, without those tokens, Demitras doesn't do a lot of damage. most of his attacks hit for like 1 or 2 hits. Well, I was getting hit for like 4, 5, 9 damage. It didn't work out, and I did not play my character well. Now, I mentioned special actions, or the super move the one guy had. Here are the special style, or here is the special style. Let me see. The way these work is, I could be wrong, I believe this card is only used once per game. You can only do it once. And depending on what base you play it with, changes what this does. So you can see if you play it with a burst or a dash, then you will negate an opponent's activation this turn. You can move backwards any number of spaces, then move the opponent any number of spaces backwards. That's awesome. So if you played... What does it want? There. Burst or dash. So if this was your attack pair for that round, that would activate. We've also got a cancel with a grasp or a shot. So if this was your attack pair, it would set it off. Before you do any reveal effects, return the base you played with this action to your hand and play a new attack pair. That's really cool. That's like, no, I didn't want to use that. I want to use something else. I really like that. That's a nice move. But the special action usually gets used for the finish. You have to have 7 or fewer life left. Otherwise, if you don't, and you play this card by accident, it just becomes a cancel. But normally it is used for the finish. Every character has an overdrive finish. Like Rukyuk here has fully automatic. Let me see if I can hold this a little steadier for you guys. Fully automatic. It's got a range of 3 to 6, a power of 2, priority 6. He does not apply the effects of his ammo tokens. On a hit, you can discard an ammo token and do this attack again. So, the last time I remember playing this guy and being in a battle, I actually managed to pull this off. I had 5 or 6, I had nearly a full set of ammo, and I just shot my buddy right off the field. I just annihilated him. Let's see. Demitros got. It's got Symphony of Demise. Before he activates, he can move up to 4 spaces, and if he hits, he gains a crescendo token. Oh no, he just gets 5 tokens. So if he's got 2 or 3, he gets 3. Or however, draws up to his maximum of 5. Which, that itself doesn't do a lot of damage. It does no damage. But the priority in 9 means it's gonna happen first, and he can move forward up to 4 spaces, so he's going to be in range, he's going to be able to pull this off, and he's going to just get 5 of those freaking tokens right away, which are awesome and crucial to how his character operates. I think that covers the basics. I love this game, if you can't already tell. It's so much fun. We've got a great cast of characters and everything. I mean, Rukyuk is the elven sharpshooter. But I mean, I wish I'd set all this up differently. We've got a crazy mental woman. This is a tough one. These are one of the advanced sets. Yeah. Tatsumi and Juto. I hate him. Well, I don't hate him, but they are tough. Because the way she works is, as she's playing her attack pairs, it's moving her panda around the board. It's its own little token that's out on the board here and moves around. Depending on where your opponent and the panda are in relation to each other, he gives different effects. So if he's behind the guy, that would do one thing. If he's between you and the opponent, that does one thing. If he's behind you, it does one thing. If he's on your space or on the opponent's space, that's 2 other different things. It's very tricky, and you have to really juggle on how to move him around and worry about how the other people are moving, and the one time I did it, I did not fare well. These are definitely the advanced classes. Lixus is fun. Seth. Freaking Seth. Before you guys reveal your attack pairs, he names a base. If your attack pair includes that base, he gets a big bonus. He gets +2 priority and +2 power. If he gets the base that you're going to play. So again, very cool, very powerful, but that's tricky. That's definitely advanced. Moderate, we have, well, Demitros, which I showed you off. Trying to think. Carolyn's interesting. Carolyn is what is this supposed to be, like a homunculus? When she plays an attack pair, whatever base, I think it is. No, whatever style is in her first discard pile, the one that's about to get drawn into her hand, that style gets applied as well as the regular style that's in the attack pair. So she gets basically 2 styles in one base when she attacks. Zamasul. This guy has this... Where is it? He's got this whole extra set of, like, paradigm cards that affect various things. Like, you know, all of his different stats and this and that. Cadenza. The Clockwork Knight. One of the basic characters. He has the lowest priority, but he cannot be stunned. And he hits hard. He is a tough opponent to go against. Magdalena here has this spectral holy ally, and every round she survives, I think, she goes up a level, and she becomes more and more powerful. So she actually has a lot of stuff where she actually heals both sides and helps both people out, because she wants to prolong the match long enough for her to get powerful enough. Luke here. Luke Van Gogh is some sort of chrono mage who it's not as cool as it could be. Okay, he's got tokens, and depending on how many he spends, that has different effects. And that's maybe not even half of these guys. This is a great game. I really love BattleCon. I really would like to teach a lot of my friends to play this, and hopefully do like tournaments and things of that nature. But it really does a good job of doing what it wants to do. This really feels like you're playing a street fighting game. My friend, the first time I played this, like the first day, it took my buddy and I a while to figure this out. But when I played it the other night with a friend, I knew enough of the basics to teach him that, and from there, he loves street fighting games. He's used to that kind of thing. He was able to figure it out from the get-go, and I never even mentioned it. And he handily beat me that night. Oh, I forgot one other really fun thing. What happens if you and your opponent have the same priority? This is fun. So, say I played... Say I played this Sniper Burst, which has a priority of 2. And my opponent also, after all their bonuses and this and that, had a priority of 2. Well, what happens is, we both look at our bases and choose a new one. The reload doesn't do any damage, I don't really want to do that. Dash also doesn't do damage, so I want to do that. We then do like a 1, 2, 3, go, and play that and play our new base on top. If we still have the same priority, we do it again. And whenever they're the same priority and you go through this procedure, it's known as a clash. So I'm like, oh no, say we clashed again, and then again, and then again. So if you keep clashing, you have to keep throwing down these bases until whatever one breaks the clash ends up on top, and then all the other bases can go back into your hand. But it doesn't come up a lot, but it's a real fun little mechanic the few times I've seen it happen. Just like, oh shit, and then we start throwing down cards and just hope to be faster than the other one, and then you end up getting the attack off. You actually are able to go before your opponent, but because you had to play through all those bases, now you're doing far less or not at all what you wanted to do, and the whole game's kind of changed. It's a real neat way to handle that, and it actually ends up being a lot of fun in the game. I think I have gone over everything. I just want to gush for a while because I love this game. Like, there's some more of the art of all of our characters. And this, not quite chibi, but this cutesy little style. There's her and Juto. Yeah. So, BattleCon, War of Indines. Highly recommended. This is a lot of fun, and once you've learned it, it doesn't take long to play at all. If you like street fighting games, if you like card games, if you like the review, heck, even if you don't, I just say, heck with it, go buy it so more people can play it. Everyone should own a copy of BattleCon War of Indines. Anyway, that's enough of my gushing over this game for now. I have been Lincoln. This has been Tokens and Heft for talking about BattleCon War of Indines. We will see you guys next time.